I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll now call the regular city council meeting to order. We do have a change on the agenda to eliminate number 13. That won't be, I guess we're looking at another proposal.
Yes, Frank Warner is looking at another proposal.
So I would accept the motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Public forum, which is limited to agenda item only. Anyone wish to speak on that? Now I entertain a motion for number 5, approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Been moved. Do I have a second? There you go. Well, everybody's in favor there. Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion by the council? Any questions? There being none, I'll call for the question. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Number 6, planning and zoning appointments. I've interviewed 2 people for the planning and zoning committee, and I would move to appoint Bruce Giles to the Marion Planning and Zoning Commission for an unexpired term that will end December 31st, 2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. I have a second appointment. I move to appoint Carol Lau to the Marion Planning and Zoning Commission for an unexpired term that will end December 31st, 2022. Do I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
I've received a couple of emails from people. Are they being considered, or are you interviewing as time goes?
That's the only 2 that's contacted me that I'm visited with.
Cheryl Connors didn't send you a email?
No. Not that I'm aware of.
No, I did not.
Well,
Dwayne McCarty also sent me an email.
yeah, I did receive one from Dwayne. Number 7, planning and zoning regulations amendment petition. Eric.
Yes, thank you. So, it's actually really simple. What we had happen was, a citizen interested in changing the zoning regulations. And, you know, as a citizen, you have the right to request a change to the zoning regulations. Well, this hasn't happened, in probably quite some time, so we don't have an application for somebody to submit the paperwork for that. In my experience, it's all been done internally, you know, either by staff or by the commission itself. So we just have a pretty simple application. So anybody that wants to change the zoning regulations can fill out, you know, what exactly you're looking at, you know, explain what you're trying to do, whatever, and submit it to us. We're not looking to change anything with this at all. We just need an application approved by you guys that somebody can fill out. And I know there were some questions also about the fees involved with that. And I think our recommendation would just keep it in line with what is already there with the rest of the zoning permits or applications, which is the residential for 125 is what we're looking at there. If you guys have a copy of that, the rates. I don't want to be talking about something you don't know what I'm talking about. What's that?
I said it's in the,
Okay.
on the website.
Yeah. But essentially, I just need approval of the new application, and then setting the fees in line with the zoning appeal, which is residential 125, and then commercial and governmental are 1%, or a minimum of 250 just need an application.
No problem. Well, I would move to approve zoning ordinance amendment request form and process as proposed by the Marion Planning and Zoning Commission. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And moved and seconded. Any further discussion by the council? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried, 5-0.
Thank you.
Max Park Stage Roof Project, Mr. Hanson.
This is just paid for, it's reviewed.
You're pretty aware, we've been planning the roof structure over the stage that was built in the park. We've got the trusses, engineered and constructed and delivered, and we're now just kind of updating the city on, a project scope of doing the installation. So we want to make sure that there's no conflicting schedules or anything going on. We would like to shoot for a completion date of July 16th to accommodate the hospital's, community thank you. The construction phase, which is on the 16th, we would start as soon as we could get the okay. Dax Kennedy has been selected to do the installation, construction. The construction process will include some minor concrete work for the piers. It's a self-standing, self-supporting roof structure, scissor structure. And so he'll need to put in the piers. We met with the engineer group from the vendor that the lumberyard had to construct and build the trusses, and we met with a couple of contractors actually, as well as Dax, and so the whole job scope was kind of outlined that way. So the concrete, and then the pier work, and then an assembly of the posts and substructure, and then setting of the trusses, and then fascias and finishes. So the process is estimated to take 12 to 15 working days. So we hope to get in there and get it put in and get it done. So what we're looking for is just, confirmation, make sure we get, no conflicting schedules or anything like that.
What's the roof made of? Is that metal?
So it's, the actual roof top is a metal roof, and then underneath the substructure is a, wood laminate beam structure, so finished out with fascia and posts, so.
We have lights underneath the roof.
So, there is actually another, kind of a sub item to put in all the wiring and conduit and everything to take, an upgrade of lights. The actual lights themselves isn't in on this plan, but if we have the funds and we have, for how we're running, we're gonna look at that as well. There's a few finished things that we still owe Dax on, we meeting as a group, like, the exact color of the metal and some of the minor details we owe him, and then that's probably a little more of a major, detail that is gonna depend on funding, obviously, so.
Any other questions?
I would just offer the city's looked at it, and our agreement when the rock wall was put up, there'd be no attachment, direct attachment. The MAC organization has made sure there will be no attachment points to it. And then we've reviewed the, wind load, snow load specifications, and they do exceed our building codes here in the city.
Okay. Anything further? And I would move to approve the Marion Advancement Campaign Stage Roof Project for the enhancement of Central Park. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion by the council? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Carried 5-0. Thank you, Andy.
You bet.
I was here for moral support for Randy, just to let you know this way.
Thanks, guys.
We'll add that we had a very successful Mac banquet on Friday night, and hopefully some of you were there. It was a really good time, so we hope to keep doing more improvements for the community.
Well, thank you for all you do.
Thanks.
Letter of intent with USD number 408. I believe the council has, each one of you has a copy of that letter of intent. Basically, what it amounts to is that we will turn the ballpark over to the school district for recreational purposes, and it will include, you know, adult programs, for example, slow pitch softball. We will lease the East Park, which is located at 1301 East Lawrence, to them for $1 a year for 39 years. And because part of that East Park down there, they'll be utilizing that for some of the recreational purposes like pickleball. You know what that is, don't you, Gary?
I do.
Been playing it?
No, but I watched them down in Wichita. Oh, that was kinda silly.
We will continue to assist them with changing the light bulbs out there. That's the one thing we'll do. We will leave all the equipment that's related to the baseball complex, and we will be taking all of our maintenance equipment from there. Is there any question to the council that I assume you've all read this and?
You're leaving the drag, right?
Yeah, we're leaving all that. All the stadium seats.
It's antique.
And I believe the school districts, they're gonna address this letter of intent tonight. Now, later on, we will have a, deed brought up, along with the resolution, I believe, to, finish this out. We're gonna be responsible for the ball field until August the 1st, and that's when all of the ball field stuff is over with, so. We'll continue to take care of things up to that point. At that time, we'll deed it over, and they'll become responsible for everything.
Is the school going to take over the dance programs and things like that?
The what?
The dance, you know, we always hear these kids upstairs talking.
That,
They're gonna do that?
well, that, I'm not sure what they're agreeing to, you know.
Okay.
I mean, if you read number 3, number 2 is the city's responsibility, what we're gonna be responsible for, tourism, festivals, economic development, and they'll be, responsible for all recreational, programs. And they'll set the reasonable fees however they wanna do that. This is a more fair way to do this, because, you know, we basically are paying for Florence kids to come, which we haven't complained about, we haven't asked for anything, but this way, all school district patrons will be allowed to use the facilities. And, you know, everything will be with the school now. So, any other question?
I have one kinda stupid to ask you. How'd you come up with 39 years for East Park?
I don't know.
Okay, I have to answer that.
Okay.
According to Kansas statute, a municipal corporation can only bind future, bodies for a period not to exceed 40 years. 39 years, we're inside the guardrails.
How would
Makes
you like
sense.
in 39 years?
Right.
Yeah, and just so I can answer, the East Park, the reason we're not able to transfer the deed, we did the improvements on the tennis courts, the playgrounds, all of that through a CDBG grant, which was federal dollars. Part of the grant responsibility agreement we signed as a city is that we retain ownership of that property. So
That's why you lease it.
that's why we lease it. And I have called the state director, talked through the situation, they're good with it, because it's still the community benefiting from the investment that was
That's
made.
good to know.
And they do plan on keeping the recreation board. That's one thing that they wanted, because they have a lot of good information for them, you know, to help them get started with all that. So, that being said, I would, make a motion to approve the letter of intent with USB 408.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. And again, the school board will be, looking at this tonight at their meeting, so it's not a done deal until they approve it too. Museum bylaws, Roger?
Okay, I believe it was on the 17th of May, the Historical Museum Board presented a requested change to the bylaws. And within that, what the main thing they're wanting to do is they currently have 9 people that are willing to serve on the board. It's an expansion of 2. The questions were then raised, well, why don't they just name it as 9? And then what would a quorum be defined as? The board has reviewed it. It is their recommendation that they would desire the flexibility in the bylaws to allow the membership to move. And therefore, the language that's utilized will allow them to define quorum based on seated membership at that time. So they've asked that I present it to the council again, ask for your approval of the bylaws, so it gives them the flexibility of board membership that allows them to increase, as they currently have identified candidates. And then in a future date, if they need to constrict, they can do that as well, under this particular set of bylaws. Susan, is there anything you wanna add as a board member?
No, that sounds great.
Discussion?
I still have a problem with Article 5, the quorum. It says, 1/2 of member of the board shall constitute a quorum. I don't have a problem with the 7 or the 9, because that will establish what a quorum is. But the Attorney General's office, and this is legal opinions, states the majority is 1 more than half.
And it's based on the seated membership they'll have with this bylaws, they'll determine what their quorum.
Yeah, but how is half of the membership equal a quorum? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. If you have 9 members, it takes 5 to be a quorum.
Okay,
If you have 7, it takes 4.
okay, as long as I understand that.
Any further questions? Concerns? I entertain a motion to approve museum board bylaws.
I approve ordinance 1477. Oh wait, that's the
No,
one.
museum board, number 10.
How about the revised bylaws of American Historical Society, Museum,
You said where's where?
museum. I'm just trying to stay up to date.
You got the wrong page.
I was.
I'll still entertain a motion to approve museum board bylaws.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Ordinance 1477. Chris? Changing impound fees for stray dogs. Tiffany?
The only thing that is changing on ordinance 1477 is the impound cost, for the dog pickups. So currently, let me back up a little bit. Animal Health Center is who we use, to impound any stray dogs picked up by the police department. They notified us that they will be increasing their rates, which means that we need to increase ours, to the individuals whose dogs picked up. So, currently the rate is $15, And so we have just made the adjustment, to increase that to $20. Yes, line D in the ordinance, is what designates that cost.
Which was $20 a meeting. Tiffany did request, of all the vets in town to see if they were interested in the boarding process for impounded dogs. And animal health is the only one that is willing to do it at this time. The others said they'd look in the future, but right now.
Is that impound fee collected from, who might own the dog or pick it up?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you have to, the agreement with Animal Health Center is they will not release a dog until the owner or whoever's picking up the dog has come down and paid for, or gotten a dog tag, which shows proof of rabies, and then they paid the pickup fee and also the impound per day fee.
Okay.
So each day that the dog's in there, if it's in there 2 days, that's $40 plus the $20 pickup, so that would be $60, just for that portion of it.
Okay.
Plus, they are told to notify the city if some dog has been sitting there for an excessive amount of time, because sometimes people don't come pick up their dogs, and then the
3
city
days.
might be, 3 days, they're supposed to let us know, so that we don't end up with a huge bill for a dog that never gets picked up.
Okay. Any other questions? I entertain a motion to approve ordinance 1477.
So moved.
Second? Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion to the council?
Yes, I have a question. Why do you think that's so bad, Jerry?
I don't think it's bad,
Oh,
because he
You were
was supposed
shaking.
to,
you were shaking your head over there and I thought,
no, no.
$20 a day, that's pretty darn cheap.
Well, that is high.
No,
I mean,
it's
that
not.
adds up.
You know what boarding is?
No.
A night? It's more than $20, trust me.
It adds up, that's why I'm shaking my head.
Well,
Oh.
if you're missing a dog, you know where to look.
Let's call for the question. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. 12, water line replacement project, update.
Oh, we did that.
Crush some tonight.
A lot of work on my street, we're doing.
We're gonna stall out right in front of your house.
Just don't dig up the yard, that's all they have.
Well, it's gonna get dug
It's
out.
gonna happen.
I sent you electronic
Perfect.
for the minutes.
Yep, thank you.
For you.
Well, thank you.
You want one, Tim? No? You sure? You know what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, the good news is, you take a look at the map, there's a lot of green. We're starting to see a lot of green, which means we are completely done. The reason I did not get this to you early, and it's ever changing, even from the time I printed this afternoon to tonight, it's already changed a little bit, so. While the stuff is in green, like down in the valley, we're obviously still got some spots where we're filling dirt holes in, we're still seeding, you know, those type of things are gonna continue to happen. So they're gonna happen through the time we close this project out in the fall, but when I color code, it means that people are on the new line, they got new water service. When it's green, that's what it means. So some of the spot that has changed just since when I printed these earlier this afternoon is up at the intersection of Elm and Hudson. You'll see a little bit of blue-orange up there. Actually, I know Burkholders were just hooked up this afternoon, and I don't know about Margaret. So if Margaret also got hooked up, then that last little piece of Elm is green. Those are the only 2 houses we had left. Around the corner on Hudson, we had pulled in, but we hadn't hooked over. There's 3 houses on Hudson on the north side. Amos House, the one owned by Richard Meisinger, and I'm not even too sure on the 3rd one, but those 3 where the stuff was run, but we hadn't had them switched over yet. So once again, as soon as they got hooked up, if he got hooked up this afternoon, that would be green. So, they started on the lines down in, Jerry's area on South Lincoln. I don't know, they haven't made it to your place yet.
Yeah.
Did they?
I have new water.
You have new water, good. So they're moving faster than I thought. I didn't get a chance to go check that out this afternoon.
It also has 4 holes over there.
And I got 4 graves in my yard. No,
Probably because the one's
four.
going across.
You're really special, Jerry.
Right?
That one they first dug, and then it's not gonna be there, so that means they're dead.
And then probably at least one to go across the street to
Yes.
somebody else's, yeah. That's why we've had that question come up, why sometimes there's multiple holes in the yard, and it has to do with, anytime we put in a new service for the ease of future maintenance and finding stuff, wherever we set the meter across the street, wherever that meter is, we try to tap the main 90 degrees to it. Unless there's some reason we can't, driveway, intersection, big tree, power pole, those type of things, otherwise it's 90 degrees. So sometimes we'll end up with 2 or 3 holes in the yard because of the houses across the street. So that's an explanation we've been trying to explain to people too. So South Lincoln, the main is in, obviously the services are going in. Coble, the main is in all the way down to Maple. The 2 little connector blocks on Maple and, Welch, right? Yeah, Welch are done between Freeborn and, Coble. Just this afternoon, once again, it changed from when I printed this. Coble is now live, the main. They filled it this afternoon, but we can't hook anybody up yet because we've got to go through the back T testing and the pressure testing. So that'll happen over the next couple of days. So actually by the end of the week, we could actually start switching over services on Coble also. The first 2 blocks coming south off of Main on Freeborn are in. Obviously not watering them yet, and they're gonna continue to work south towards the hospital. We are gonna have a large water outage. Right now, we're planning it for Thursday. I'll get the notification to Tiffany to put out. We originally were gonna reuse the valve that's right there across from Subway at Freeborn and Main, but we got dug down to it and found that just south of that valve is nothing but about 30 feet of patches. So we actually need to go north of that valve now to do a good tie-in on some very good pipe. So that's gonna change, which means a water outage for a little bit larger area for a couple hours Thursday morning. So we hadn't necessarily planned, because we thought we had it under control, but then we dug up where we're gonna connect to. Not a good situation for leaving the water system in the future, if good stuff tied to that bad old hole. We wanted to arrange the outage too. We were gonna do it originally tomorrow morning, but the hospital has procedures tomorrow morning, and so. And tomorrow morning's their scope day, so we didn't want to necessarily make people redo the prep for scope. So we moved that to Thursday. Charlie had no problem moving it to Thursday, so that's why it's gonna be Thursday now. Continuing services, that's gonna be the biggie. As a reminder, we've had this pop up. I told the Marion Merchants meeting this morning, if